Downs Weekly here on NBC Sports Northwest. Joe Withey, Gary Doherty, and track president Phil Ziegler here with you. Thanks for joining us. It's a special week in the world of thoroughbred racing. Why? Because Emerald Downs is racing this Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. and maybe another famous horse race this weekend as well. The Kentucky Derby coming up Saturday about 3:30 West Coast time, and we are getting ready at Emerald Downs for the Kentucky Derby, Phil.
Yes, we are. It's supposed to be a really nice day. It's the day that everybody gets dressed up. We have party buses come out. It is a festive, people-watching kind of day that happens once a year, and it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, and it's been enhanced the past few years with that big screen. We have 1,100 square foot big screen in the infield, so everybody outside gets a great view of the race, and hopefully they can pick some winners. But it's a fun day at the track.
Yes, if you wear a hat like I'm wearing, you get in for free. Free admission, everybody wearing a fancy hat, and we'll have a nice hat contest.
Oh, look at that.
Joe, where's your hat? I see plenty there, but don't see you donning one.
It's your favorite day, Joe.
I gave it away that day earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, there's, by the 5th, 6th, 7th race, there's plenty of visitors, track visitors, looking for things to do.
Absolutely.
That was a recent year. That was a good year.
It was.
But, Gary, you're our promotions manager here at Emerald Downs, and we've got a lot in store this weekend.
We do. In fact, after the races on Saturday night, we'll have 3 tribute bands playing here, starting around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So you can make it a long day. Come out, watch the Derby, stay till later in the night, dance away, and have some fun with 3 tribute bands. Followed by, on Sunday, is Fabulous. It's not Fab Friday. It's a Sunday for the family. Family fun day. Okay. Sunday. Right, Phil?
Yes, and mint juleps, as we saw there, the prices.
I've had a few
I'll just
mint juleps
ignore that.
today.
You've had a few mint juleps already. Mint juleps, a tradition of the Derby. They'll come in one of those souvenir glasses. This is kind of an old glass sitting here, but there's one every year. A lot of people collect them, and you get a mint julep in the souvenir glass. And we also have, $1.50 ice cream and other specials throughout the weekend.
Lots of beer stands all over the place.
A lot of beer stands, yes. Big but those mint juleps, that's the drink you're supposed to have on Kentucky Derby Day, right?
Right. Then on
Have
Sunday.
you ever had one?
Sure.
I've had one time at Churchill Downs. It was
I've never had a mint
maybe
julep.
had 2 of them.
Because I'm always working on Derby Day. I've never had one.
So Sunday, Joe, was family fun day. Well, pony rides for the kids and also face painters from 1 to 5, and that's this Sunday.
No, the park out north of the paddock, a very popular spot for families and regular fans as well. Actually, we've got a bigger TV screen attached to the building and out there in the park, so take advantage of that if that's your spot. But we're looking forward to live racing at Emerald Downs and the Kentucky Derby. And, of course, a great card at Churchill Downs. They start early in the morning. Gates open early at Emerald Downs on Kentucky Derby Saturday. Go to emeralddowns.com for more information. But just a fantastic card. It's a long day at Churchill Downs.
7:30 in the morning. First race, our time, 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know what the last race of the day is? If you wanted to bet, because we take races from all over the world and country, you could bet from 7:30 in the morning until 2 a.m. because racing from Hong Kong Saturday night. So you could be here literally from early in the morning until 2 a.m. that night when the casino and the building closes, betting on horse racing that really only happens one time a year.
We've got food. Wow. We've got facilities, indoor facilities. We have accommodations to be here all day. So looking forward to this Saturday. We'll have much more about the Kentucky Derby on the show. Well, why not a little bit more about it right now? This fellow right here, he was kind of worried how his mustache looked right before we started the show. It would have been darker back in 1987 when Gary went to the Kentucky Derby.
You were there?
Joe.
You remember this, Gary?
Oh, no.
I do.
That's an 80s hairdo. He's at the $2 show window right there, and he's backing up the line looking for a show bet. But nonetheless, that's from Louisville, Kentucky. Is this your traveling squad?
Yes, that's us. We're having a few drinks the night before. Almost had too many,
Too many because it's daytime. It's not nighttime yet, but that's
true.
okay.
That was some good friends back there. And my friend Carl from college, he went out and bought this brand new Buick Grand National because we had 4 going down from Detroit, Michigan, down to Louisville, Kentucky. So he got rid of his old car and bought a brand new car for this trip.
That's all right.
Looks like the car you have now.
Grand National, that's not a bad name to go to a horse race in, really. Okay, so you went in 1987.
That's definitely not a look for me. No.
Phil, you're looking pretty mean
No.
Yeah,
And I got a mustache too about 10 years ago. I can't grow one anymore.
Somebody is practicing their Photoshop abilities in the studio.
wow.
I've never looked like that. Might try it.
And who won the Derby in '87?
Ali Sheba. It was a great race. I spent all week handicapping the race, and I came up with Demons Be Gone, who on the backside he pulled up. He was bleeding and never finished the race. And my friend who was sitting next to me, first ever horse race he was the Derby weekend, and he talked to the lady next to him in the next box over, and they talked about Ali Sheba, and he went bet Ali Sheba, and he was the big winner, 8-9 to 1, I believe, that day.
Yeah, Jack Van Berg horse, Ali Sheba, and trainer Jack Van Berg in racing's Hall of Fame. And by the way, Demons Be Gone became a Northwest sire, a pretty successful Northwest sire after
That's right.
His racing career ended. So a look back to 1987, 31 years ago, and Gary made a trip to the Kentucky Derby. But you can come out, and again, as Gary mentioned, wear a decorative hat on Saturday. If you're man, woman, boy, girl, you'll get free admission here at Emerald Downs. And we're going to have some prizes we'll have judges walking around the track here.
Yes, you can enter from 12:30 to 2 o'clock on track level, and we'll have some judges come down. We'll get everybody together, and we'll vote upon each of the winners of different groups, and they all will get probably a gift card from either the Muckleshoot Casino or here at Emerald Downs.
That sounds great. So, racing at Emerald Downs as well. First race at 2 p.m. We're going to have 9 races on Kentucky Derby Saturday and activities up on the 5th floor, live music after the races. But we do have a carryover in our 20-cent Pick 7 jackpot wager. So $4,466 to get things started on Saturday here at Emerald Downs. And that would go, starting in the third race? Would be the start of the 20-cent jackpot Pick 7. And more people are going to be playing that as that carryover grows. It's not easy to win, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, well, we're going to talk about our Kentucky Derby picks. We're going to hear from other experts as well, local horsemen, and talk more about Emerald Downs last week and in the future. We'll be right back. It is Emerald Downs Weekly on NBC Sports Northwest.
Phil, let's split a jackpot Pick 7 bet.
I'm still kind of freaked out by me and a mustache, that picture.
That was a serious mustache.
You look like a
Not
biker.
a good look at all.
Was that real or Photoshop? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, not real.
Thanks for joining us on Emerald Downs Weekly, NBC Sports Northwest, and you're watching at either 11 p.m. on Thursday night or 9 a.m. on Friday morning. Our show airs twice as we look forward to the weekend, Kentucky Derby weekend at Emerald Downs, and also, of course, take a look back to the previous week, some great events. Let's look back to last week's racing right now. We had 8 races on Saturday last, our first Saturday-Sunday weekend. Kevin Orozco, who did well as an apprentice up here last year, he had a great Saturday, Phil. He won 3 races.
Yeah, and over the winter he went to Portland Meadows, and I think every time I looked up at the TV screen he was winning a race. He won that meet and had a bunch of winners almost on a daily basis. So he made that kind of transition to be a journeyman from apprentice very smoothly, and he's riding very well early in the meet.
Gary, you fill in jockey stat right here.
Yes.
Kevin Orozco. Gary has a lot of great stats on jockeys, as we will be showing later in the show. But, Kevin, an apprentice here last year, really moved forward last fall and winter, as Phil said, going to Portland, getting a lot of mounts. He wasn't getting as much action in the Bay Area, but
right.
He's right up there for in the early standings.
Yep.
Rocco Bowen.
Maybe he can give Rocco a run this year. It should be fun to see.
Didn't he win the National Jockey of the Week over the winter?
Kevin Orozco did, yes. Put out by...
There's the stat
yep.
of the week.
And I voted for him. I'm on that committee that votes, and he was the winner, getting 6 wins at Portland Meadows, I think on a sloppy racetrack.
That's great. Mm-hmm. That is really good. Okay, well, a horse by the name of Daytona Beach. Remember the end of the 2014 meeting? The Gottstein Futurity was that day, but also the Cahill Road Stakes for 2-year-olds for $50,000, and that is out front, Daytona Beach, son of Harbor the Gold. And then just last Saturday at Emerald Downs, in a familiar spot out front, that horse is now 3 for 3 in 2018. Daytona Beach, a 6-year-old son of Harbor the Gold, former Emerald Downs Stakes winner, second favorite, and Jennifer Whitaker and Howard Belvoir continued their run of feature race scores at Emerald Downs, dating back to closing weekend last year. They took the Gottstein. They won with Mary Lois on opening day and made it 3 in a row. Jennifer Whitaker, 3 straight feature races. You guys wouldn't have predicted that last year on Emerald Downs Weekly.
That's a long shot, but she's riding well, and it's fun to see. Jennifer been here a long time, all-time leading winner for races here by women. So it's cool.
That's my pick for trainer of the meet, Howard Belvoir, as he's doing well with feature races so far. Sunday at the track, we had a 10-race card, and Grand Palais had the inside post. He didn't break all that well, but as the betting favorite, as the public made him with their win wagers, he pretty much strutted his stuff most of the race after a little bit of a slow start. And there you can see a 3-length victory for Grand Palais. First win for the Blaine Wright barn.
Yes,
and we're expecting them to do well this year.
Yeah, that was my pick for trainer of the meet. So good to see him get on the board. He hasn't run too many early on.
No. John and Janine Mariansky, the winning owners. Grand Palais, excellent record here at Emerald Downs, and he came through as the favorite on Sunday. Well, let's start with trainer of the week, a fellow by the name of Jack McCartney, who was here in 2016, but he said he learned how to come into this meet with live horses. They had been running at Sunland Park, and he won with his first 3 starters last weekend, and then he finally had a non-winner in the 10th race of the day, but there's Dudley Studley going into the winner's circle for Jack.
Ridden by J.C. Estrada.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And there's Whoops going into the winner's circle as well with Austin Solis. So welcome to Jack McCartney. He's named Trainer of the Week. 3 wins with 4 starters. Not bad.
No, that's fantastic. And this is each week we have the Trainer of the Week, and we have a sponsor this year. It's Las Margaritas. They'll be sponsoring the Trainer of the Week. So they're right here in Auburn. Go by and visit. Great food.
Isn't that where you got lunch today?
Yeah, I had lunch today from Las Margaritas. Had their lunch special, and it was.
He's got that
tidy.
Smile on his face like he got it for free too.
Well,
extra portion.
We had a business
extra portion.
We
One
had
of
a
the
business
other
decision to make today.
Okay,
so
that's
we're
important.
Set. We're ready.
Okay, Jack
Stop for
McCartney.
some fries along the way.
No, it was a one shop stop.
Yes, Gary's been known to hit multiple locations.
We're doing the after go to break banter before the break this time right now. Okay, the
good.
jockey of the week last week was Austin Solis. Yes, the son of Hall of Fame rider Alex Solis is doing well at Emerald Downs, as Austin Solis won 3 times on Sunday and 4 for the week. Austin Solis getting up there with Whoops, and he also scored in the last race with Magnum GT. Now this horse, I'm going to give Austin some extra credit because both Grand Palais and this winner here, Magnum GT, they both didn't break well from an inside post, yet he did not panic at all. He was able to get them both through on the inside and go on to easy victories. That's a sign of a good rider when you don't break well from an inside post and you still negotiate the trip around pretty well.
Yeah, my dad always used to tell me when a jockey has 2 wins on the day and it's the last race, bet him to win the 3rd. It's amazing how many times that happens.
I've heard that from other people.
They want to win that 3rd race.
Somebody did. This horse paid 2 to 5. We paid $280 to win. Was that your money, Phil? Knock it down to 2 to 5.
That was one of the favorites that won. We had a few on Sunday that didn't win.
That's right. Odds-on favorites actually are only 3 out of 9 so far at the 2018 meeting. So heavy favorites, not up to par so far, but every race is different. Hey, and then the owner of the week was Tanya Ellison, and Tanya was the recipient of Jack McCartney's great training, as she was the winner of 3 horses, the same ones that Jack won with. There's Outdid Ya on Saturday, as he pulled away at a nice price, 8 to 1. And horses from Sunland Park, again, Jack McCartney had horses racing there, and they came in sharp. And Tanya Ellison, our top owner last week with 3 victories. Congratulations to the McCartney stable, Tanya Ellison, and again, Austin Solis. How about the big payoff of the week? Well, you know that the pick fours paid very handsomely. We had one pick four over 2,000, two pick fours over 1,000 last week, but the big payoff of the week was the pick five on Sunday, which paid over $3,500. Wow. So keep an eye on those pick fives. And the pick fours and pick fives, of course, 50-cent minimums. You can get a lot of coverage for your buck.
And the pool size has been very good this meet. Very good pool sizes.
Okay. That's more info on Emerald Downs Weekly, and we're going to talk more Kentucky Derby and Emerald Downs when we return, and we will come back. So go ahead with your clever banter now. What do you got for us?
Did you make multiple stops for lunch, Gary?
That's only twice.
You get food, and then you get more food.
I
need fries with that. Mexi fries.
Mexi fries.
Yes, got to stuff in the Mexi fries.
I was guilty of that, but I also got some for the rest of the departments.
That's your excuse.
That was my excuse.
All right.
Emerald Downs Weekly, NBC Sports Northwest. Joe Withey, Gary Doherty, and Phil Ziegler talking Emerald Downs and a little Kentucky Derby. That's the big race. Well, the world's most famous horse race is this Saturday. You can catch it right here at Emerald Downs. We'll have a big crowd, and that big screen in the infield affords a great view for so many fans watching and wagering on the Kentucky Derby this Saturday. And, you know, we're going to get some help from one of the Northwest top handicappers. John Lindley is the author of Parker's Picks, does a lot of great television work for Emerald Downs as well. And we want to find out from John, is it the big field, the biggest crowd that these horses run for, the longest distance? What is unique, and what's his angles on handicapping the Kentucky Derby?
For this year's Kentucky Derby, well, for any year's Kentucky Derby, every time I look through the field, I want to find a horse that's overcome something or done something spectacular. And this year, when I look at the United States horses that all won the recent prep races, for example, the Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, Wood Memorial, and the Arkansas Derby, the winner of all those races, each one of them had things go their way. In the Florida Derby, Audible had a rocket suicidal pace duel to run at. Even though he won impressively, again, it was a perfect trip for him. In the Santa Anita Derby, Justify had things his own way. He went 47-4 to the half mile, and I cannot remember a Santa Anita Derby that has gone that slow to the half mile. Granted, you know, he's done nothing wrong in his career. He's 3 for 3 and undefeated, but really things did go his way there. And when you look at the Wood Memorial winner, Vino Rossi, he also had a really fast pace to run at, and things set up good for him. And finally, in the Arkansas Derby, Magnum Moon went even slower than Justify did, going 48 and change to the half mile. In fact, in that race, the top two horses ran around the track together. And while all four of those horses are definitely formidable competitors in the race and will draw a lot of money, I want to look for somebody that did something a little different. And then I look to Mendelssohn, who comes in from Dubai. And his Dubai race is kind of tricky to you know, get a handle on. I mean, you know, he won by 18.5. He beat a filly who's running in the Oaks on Friday. He did it, though, going the first quarter in 25.09. Now, that quarter mile is a timed mile, but I think it's timed for when the gates open, not after a run-up. So I do expect he has more speed in that, and clearly he was bred for the dirt, being a half-to-beholder, a $3 million purchase. The question I have is that race is way off the charts. In fact, it's so far off the charts, I don't know where it registers in the grand scheme of three-year-old efforts. And as we've talked many times, horses that come off their lifetime best efforts that are significantly better than any other type of race tend to go backwards off that race. And, you know, for that reason, I'm going to pass on him, but I was awful impressed with this Dubai race. I do think, you know, you do have to mention that a lot of races were won wire to wire that day. And in this particular spot, I don't think he is getting the lead, only because Promises Fulfilled is that Florida Derby pace setter we talked about. And, you know, he looks like he has to go to the lead along with some others in here. So anyway, for the race, I settled on Bolt de Oro. You know, he was awful impressive in his front runner win last year at Santa Anita when he won by 7 lengths. And we went to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, just like Mendelssohn kind of. He had bounce written all over him. And a lot of times when a horse will bounce, they will do it partly by braking slowly, which was what he did that day. And he raced wide, but, you know, that really wasn't the issue. I just think he was a little flat off that big effort. And he came out this year and won through disqualification. He did win the San Felipe, even though He did finish second. It was still a big effort, and last time he had no chance against Justify. I mean, Justify had complete control of that race from the start. This was just kind of like a parade around the racetrack. I think he's set up really well to run a big race on Saturday. He's got excellent breeding for 1.25 miles. In fact, one of a few in here that does. But when I look at Bolt Oro, I look like a big effort's coming his way. He's got a nice style. He's got a jockey who's won the Triple Crown. He has a trainer who's probably never been to Kentucky, which is kind of interesting. But going against Baffert and Pletcher and all the big boys. But hopefully he'll get a big, good trip on Saturday, and we'll see if he can get the job done. And I hope to hear what you guys think about the Derby.
And Bolt Oro, he's a stalking horse. John made a pretty good case for him. We're going to have our picks a little bit later, but any reaction to John's comments, Gary?
Yeah, this horse is run at age 2 and 3, 6 races, very experienced, and I think that's a key thing in picking the Derby is looking for horses who've run multiple times, because on this first Saturday in May, they have 19 rivals.
Okay, and one of the knocks against Justify is that he did not race as a 2-year-old. No horse, the Curse of Apollo it's called. No horse has won the Kentucky Derby since 1882 that did not run as a 2-year-old. You had to have had a start at 2. Justify didn't, as Gary just mentioned. Bolt
That's right.
Oro.
1882, that's what it says in the Derby.
Okay, I got that right, huh?
You did.
Phil, John Lindley, you know what I like about John is even if he cashes a bet on a horse, even a good bet, he doesn't get married to that horse. He doesn't fall in love. He looks at the data and takes each race individually. That's why he's a good handicapper.
Yeah, and in this case, he's looking for who's about to have a great race, not who has had a great race. And that's a interesting angle going into the Derby. And sometimes the best horse doesn't win the Derby, as we're going to talk about later. It's 20 horses. These horses are in 2 starting gates. It's just a free-for-all sometimes, especially out of the gate. So you can have the best horse, get a bad break, and not win. But I do like his angle, looking for somebody who's had a trouble trip and maybe stepping into his best race.
He's coming up to the best. And, what do you take, a speed horse, a stalker, a closer in the Derby with that big field? Usually you should get a pretty good pace, that is. If you go back to 2002, War Emblem, he led all the way at long shot odds. One of the few front-running winners of the Kentucky Derby in the last 20 years. There were so many horses in that race that like to stalk, like to lay right off the pace. So many that maybe came from well off the pace. And it just was great for War Emblem and Victor Espinoza. Bob Baffert was the trainer, and nobody challenged War Emblem early, and as you can see, nobody challenged him late. If that's the scenario for promises fulfilled, you'll be cashing a big bet on Saturday's Kentucky Derby. We'll be right back on Emerald Downs Weekly. Did you have him? I had a backup bet on him. Okay.
Backup
brag.
I don't make backup bets.
Well, it was profitable that year.
Okay, fine.
So you go ahead and
$40
criticize it.
Hey, that's John Lindley. He knows his stuff. He does.
That's why we
He's
put him
good.
up here.
Yes.
Emerald Downs Weekly on NBC Sports Northwest. A little Kentucky Derby talk this week. I think it's appropriate. A lot of big payoffs in the Kentucky Derby due to the 20-horse field and horses racing that longer distance for the first time, often the only time ever, at 1.25 miles. But there's some fairly unique statistics out there among some top names in the Kentucky Derby. How about Todd Pletcher's prowess in this big race? Do we know Todd Pletcher's stats in the Kentucky Derby? There they are, right there. 48 starters and 2 wins.
Boy, hard to believe, isn't it?
You know,
Phil? 2 for 48.
It's not good, and he'd like it to be a lot better. He did win last year.
Oh, he's won for his last one.
Yeah.
And how many is he starting Saturday? You got 6 or 7?
He's got 4 in there.
4. All right.
Audible, Magnum Moon, Noble Indy, Vino Rosso, all legitimate horses. And, part of that 2 for 48, the 48 is that he runs multiple horses every year. So you got to give him a little bit of slack on his record. And he is the defending champ with Always Dreaming, also won with Super Saver in 2010. Nonetheless,
now, both those on sloppy race courses? I know last year. Well, I know Super Saver, was that off track?
That was an off track.
And Always Dreaming was an off track.
You got something going here.
Phil, what's your forecast for the weather in Louisville on Saturday?
I only care about the weather in Auburn.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's going to be nice here.
Okay, so Todd
come on
Pletcher,
out.
not the greatest record, and he won't have the favorite, but he'll have many in that second tier after Justify and Mendelssohn. And how about Javier Castellano? He is recognized as the top rider in North America, if not right up there in the world. He's won the Eclipse Award for Outstanding Jockey 4 of the past 5 years. Look at his record in the Kentucky Derby, fellas.
Amazing.
Ofer.
I think his best finish was the last spot in the Superfecta. That'd be 4th. He's never been in the top 3.
Is that a fact? Okay. Javier Castellano, 4 Eclipse Awards in the last 5 years and 0 for 11 in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, we need to tell you, he's had his choice of who to ride in here, and he got off Bolt to Oro. And, Gary, you are the jockey man
He's
around
riding
here.
for Pletcher. He's riding
Which is your
Audible.
He's riding Audible, the Florida Derby winner. Thank
Yes.
you. Should know that. So Castellano, Pletcher, they do a lot of good work together, and they are together again this Saturday in the Kentucky Derby with Audible, looking to get those stats a little bit more in line with their career stats for sure. How about Mike Smith? Mike Smith, the big money rider of his time, of his generation, so many outstanding days and performances. He has won the Kentucky Derby, but as the favorite, Gary, you came up with this one. He hasn't done all that well.
Yeah, you got to remember, there's 18, 20 horses in most of these races. He was saddled from the 20 hole, I believe, in 1996 on a Bridal Song, who had a foot issue. Bodemeister was the last betting favorite not to win this race, Phil, back in 2012. So maybe Mike, Big Money Smith, can finally get the job and break a streak of 4 losses with the betting favorite.
I miss not having Calvin Borel.
Yeah.
He was what he win 3 out of 4 at one time.
He was on the Johnny Carson show, wasn't he, after he won his 3rd?
I don't think Carson was hosting.
Oh,
but
okay.
Might have been Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Johnny was done in the early 90s, man.
Kevin
Oh,
Borel.
boy. He's throwing this thing into a tizzy right now.
Yeah,
Johnny Carson, Calvin Burrell. Okay.
Late night show.
Okay, late night show. There you go. But yeah, Calvin Burrell, the only jockey to win 3 Kentucky Derbies in a 4-year span, and 2 of those rides were just awesome, in one word, with street sense and Mind That Bird, getting off the rail, going around a horse, getting off the rail again, going around another horse, going around 2, getting back on the rail.
What would Trevor Denham say? Scraping
paint, something like that.
Yep.
You know, they did a movie for Mind That Bird. 50 to 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Not bad. Calvin Burrell played himself.
Is that right? I got that movie.
And here is Mind That Bird in 2009.
I still can't believe he won.
And he's on the rail. Calvin is ducked to the inside, and all of the contenders are in that bunch. And look what's going to happen here.
He finished 4th in the Sunland Derby.
50 to 1, Mind That Bird.
And the trainer
And
brought
never won again after.
Never won another race, although he was placed in both the Preakness and Belmont.
Really?
Yeah.
Trained by Chip Woolery.
Yep.
Chip Woolley?
Chip Woolley.
He's going back to his 90s TV again. Chuck
It's
Woolery.
Chuck Woolery.
Chuck Woolery. Chip brought this horse by a trailer from Sunland all the way up to Kentucky.
Yes.
He stopped at motels, hotels, let the horse out, eat some grass, and back in the trailer, and off they
It
went.
is a fun movie. Go check it out.
You know, and a positive stat, jockey in the Kentucky Derby. How about the Northwest Zone, Mario Gutierrez? He won the Derby in 2012 on I'll Have Another and 2016 on Nyquist. Each one of those years he won the Long Acres Mile.
You made an Emerald
How's
Downs
that?
connection. Nice.
He finally was beaten in the Kentucky Derby last year, so he has 2 wins in 3 mounts in the big one, the Kentucky Derby. What a super nice guy. Of course, he started his career up at Hastings in Vancouver, BC. He came down here several times, and two Long Acres Miles isn't bad. 2 Kentucky Derbies in the same year makes for a pretty good career.
Fantastic.
As well as those individual years. Yeah, Mario Gutierrez not riding this year in the Kentucky Derby. But some of the biggest payouts in the Kentucky Derby ever came in 2005 when Giacomo won at 50 to 1. And look at these payouts, fellas. There's the $2 win ticket at 102.60. Mike Smith aboard. That was his lone Kentucky Derby win.
Yep.
But look at those are $1 exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. How about an exacta of $4,900? You know, a $400 exacta comes about, you know, a few times a year.
Look at this.
And
who ran second that day? That closing argument at 70
to 1. Fleet Alex third.
Okay.
And the horse I bet Don't Get Mad was fourth. But Giacomo, the son of Holy Bull, owned by Jerry and Ann Moss, and trained by John Sheriffs, was the hero that year.
Yeah, back then it was just lots of bombers coming in every year.
Look at those payoffs. $864,000 for a superfecta. That's big.
That's big. What, 10 cents would be $86K.
Yeah, not
for
bad.
a dime.
Okay.
All right.
And with a 20-horse field, things like those are capable of happening once again, as the long shots did come in the first, second, and fourth slots back in 2005. And we still need to make our picks for the Derby, and we'll do that pretty soon. But let's go to the trivia question for today. And which jockey has the longest streak of participation currently in the Kentucky Derby? Current longest streak of participation by a jockey riding in the Kentucky Derby. We'll have that trivia answer when we come back on Emerald Downs Weekly.
Phil, can you spot me a $100 bill, some quick picks?
I think we're going to have a big long shot.
Superfecta?
There's going to be some big payouts.
I'll borrow some money and make
I'm hoping so.
quick picks.
Emerald Downs Weekly, NBC Sports Northwest. Joe Withy, Gary Doherty, and track president Phil Ziegler. As we love to do this show, preview and review Emerald Downs, and maybe a little extra talk on the Kentucky Derby this week. Our trivia question, which jockey has the longest current streak in riding the Kentucky Derby? Participation streak.
Pat
Gary,
Day.
I think
Pat Day.
Wait a minute, you know
Current.
the answer. I'm not going to let you fake like that. You got me the answer.
I don't know.
Who is it?
Desormo, Espinoza?
Gary knows.
One of them?
John Velasquez.
Johnny V.
Oh.
John Velasquez, as he has ridden in 11 straight Kentucky Derbies, including last year he won it aboard Always Dreaming for Todd Pletcher.
A little sloppy there, huh?
Yeah, a little bit sloppy last year. Always Dreaming won it. And Velasquez aboard. He also won aboard Animal Kingdom a few years ago. So Johnny V has 2 Kentucky Derby victories, as does trainer Todd Pletcher. And Johnny V will be riding Vino Rosso on Saturday, the Wood Memorial winner, one of those many horses that are in the probably the 8 to 12 to 1 area, after you've got the favoritism of Justify and probable second favorite Mendelssohn. So how about who we like in the 2018 Run for the Roses? Phil Ziegler, how you analyze this race?
He's been saying this is
I've been saying
easy,
this
no
all
contest.
day. I'm going to tell you, first of all, who's not going to win.
Okay.
Okay, forget Justify. 3
Forget
to
him
1.
completely? Not
Forget
even
him.
in exactas?
No.
Okay.
Out of the money.
I just
That's
scratched
my
them
prediction.
off.
Why?
Write that
Give me
down.
one quick reason why.
You know, he's, first of all, unraced 2-year-old, but only 3 wins. He's beaten a total of only 14 horses. He's running some pretty easy races, and I just don't think that he is ready for this race. It's totally different than what we're going to see today. So I think the best horse in the race, and I know there's some agreement here, is Good Magic, who at 12 to 1 in the morning line, he'll never be 12 to 1. He should be 4 or 5 to 1. I'd be happy to get 8 or 9 to 1 on him. Maybe 10 to 1 would be awesome, coming off a win in the Bluegrass. And winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So many things to like about this horse. $1 million purchase, and great post position. There's nothing bad about this horse.
Joe, your trainer looks pretty good, too.
I don't know why he's not the morning line favorite. I really don't.
He's run 5 races at 5 different tracks. He's run well, you could say, just about every time. A little bit dull in his first start as a 3-year-old, but he came right back and won that one there, the Bluegrass. And, he's been in front of a big crowd. He's running a big field in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's by Curlin out of a hard-spun mare. I mean, that says 1.25 miles to me as far as this field compares. So Phil and I on the same horse, Good Magic, trained by Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz aboard. Who do you like?
Well, this is unbelievable, chose the same horse as you two guys did, but I made a late audible.
Hey, that's pretty tricky.
You like that?
That's not bad for you, yeah.
I've got, I'm selecting a New York bred.
Okay.
Audible.
Yes.
Last time I picked a New York bred was a horse called Funny Side. And,
Phil, is this his 40th try at a race by picking a New York bred in the
New
Kentucky
York bred,
Derby?
yeah.
What's he do?
Last time, Funny Side was a New York bred. That was the first New York bred to win, and maybe Audible can be a second. Ridden by Javier Castellano, who's due to get to the winner's circle there at Churchill Downs.
Audible 2 for 2 this year, including the Florida Derby. Okay, how about some people in the stable area at Emerald Downs? They think about the Kentucky Derby too. Let's hear from them.
I think it's going to be Justify, and I'm just hoping that any of those 3-year-olds that are on the Derby trail but then fall off the trail, that they all show up for $100,000 getaway stakes the last day of the meet. We need all the national horses we can get, even if it's a Bob Baffert trained horse. Sorry, Joe, I know you have Sip and Fire, but we need those big national horses. Sip and Fire and Elliott Bay, you can run 1-2, but those other horses can run right behind you.
Audible. Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez, won the Florida Derby. That's my pick.
There's a lot of horses for sure, but I really like Boldoro. I think he's that kind of guy. Will be in the mid of the race, and be a fast pace, and he won't chase Justify by himself this time. So I think he'll have good finishing.
I've been watching all the races, and I come down to just the 2 favorites. I think Audible and Justify. I bet them both a little bit in Vegas earlier this year and got some pretty good numbers on them. But if it comes down, I have to pick the West Coast horse. I think Justify might be a little better horse, but that would be my pick.
Mendelssohn Joe Withy, the winner of the UAE Derby, and has my favorite trainer other than in the state of Washington, Adian O'Brien.
Well, I think the Southern California horses are the best, and Justify is probably my pick, and Bolt d'Oro I think will be right there too. So those are my 2 selections.
I'm gonna go for Magnum Moon. Just an outside shot, so go there.
Well, I've got it down to 3 horses. Audible, I like him quite a bit, and everybody likes Justify, of course. I mean, he ran a huge race, but the horse I like the best is Magnum Moon. So it's a 3-horse exacta box.
Well, my number 1 choice right now is Bolt d'Oro. I think he's sitting on a big race. I don't think that he's his second to Justify. I don't think he lost a lot of energy coming out of that race. His work back was superb. And the fact he gets Victor Espinoza, we know that he can win a Kentucky Derby, and he's going to get the perfect trip.
I believe Justify is the best horse going right now. After his performance in the Santa Anita Derby, I don't even think they've asked him for his full potential yet. And that's my pick.
I like Good Magic. He checks all my boxes. He's a champion 2-year-old. He's running in big fields. He's trained by Chad Brown. And there's one other thing I can't remember. Oh, he doesn't have to have the lead.
I think I'm going to go with Audible. I think he's been battle tested against good horses. Last time he ran, he didn't have the best trip. He got dropped back a bit ways, still overcame it, won easily. So I don't see any chinks in his armor, so I think I'm going to key off of him. And I don't really see a long shot winning this year. I think it will be one of the lower priced horses, so that's how I'm going.
Emerald Downs Weekly, NBC Sports Northwest. Thanks for joining us as we are wrapping up our 3rd show and 3rd weekend of racing at Emerald Downs this weekend. Saturday, Sunday, first race each day at 2 p.m. And, of course, Saturday's Kentucky Derby Saturday, and a little extra. The hat contest. Wear a decorative hat. Does this qualify as a decorative hat right here? No?
But Winks is a great horse.
Winks is a great horse. How about this? Is this? Oh, I can't put that on. That belongs to the king.
No.
Anyway, it has to be a decorative hat. And man, woman, boy, or girl, if you wear a decorative hat, you get free admission. Correct, Phil?
Yeah, just show up in a hat. You get in for free. And then we have some prizes to be won for all different categories, right?
That's correct.
Dapper Dan, you're trying to be the Dapper Dan over here?
Yeah, I'm 3 to 5, I think, for that. Wearing this cap. I look pretty sharp. Shaved this morning. Just make sure to sign up here on Track Level. Well, be here on Track Level.
Okay.
Noon
Sign up
to
by
noon to 2:30.
Okay.
Track Level.
Very good. And that is the hat contest. Some nice prizes in that. You can have a great time while you're wearing your decorative hat. And, of course, racing from Emerald Downs. We'll take a break and I'll watch the Run for the Roses about 3:30 in the afternoon. And then after racing, Gary, it's not a secret because we're getting some great crowds for live music here at Emerald Downs on Friday and Saturday nights.
Yes, starting at 6 p.m. on Saturday night, we have a prime rib buffet for just $20. And also you can lurk over to the casino, play your favorite blackjack game. You get a few hours to make some money, and then swing back over to the 5th floor there, the bar area, and we'll have 3 bands playing. We got a tribute to Bad Company, Heart, and the Pat Benatar Experience.
Awesome. Okay, live music Saturday night here at Emerald Downs and all through the season as well on Saturday nights. Go to emeralddowns.com for more info there. And then Sunday, Phil, first race at 2 p.m. We also are going to have some entertainment for the family and the kids out in the park.
Yeah, family fun day. It's always special at Emerald Downs. We have inflatables, different themes out there all season. This is our first family fun day on Sunday, and I guess some people got to remind them, kids get in free.
Yep.
And all the way up to 17. 17 and under are free every day here at Emerald Downs. So bring the kids out. It is a family festive place to come on a weekend, especially when the weather is nice like it's supposed to be this weekend.
Fantastic, yeah. Okay, so Emerald Downs live racing this weekend, and not too far away, a week from Friday, that would be May 11th, we're going to have our first Friday night of live racing, and that is an important date to put on your calendar. First race at 6:30, Friday, May 11th. Gary, not hats this time, but other apparel.
We'll be giving away, we got like 4,000 T-shirts to be given away. Come on in, get a T-shirt, and you can wear it back every Friday for free admission. During each Friday night, you can put your name in a drawing. We'll draw 3 names to toss a horseshoe 40 feet. If you get a ringer, I will get it into my checkbook or my wallet and give you $1,000 cash.
$1,000 cash, not $100, $1,000 if you can throw a ringer. The horseshoe toss, a Friday night tradition reborn here at Emerald Downs. So that's Friday, May 11th, our first Fab Friday. And then that weekend, Phil, Mother's Day is a huge day at Emerald Downs.
Yeah, we're always sold out for our brunch, so hopefully you made your reservations already. 253-288-7711. If you haven't, call up. We might have a few spots left. It's a tradition. A lot of folks say they come out to Emerald Downs. The Derby Day is a big tradition. Mother's Day is a big tradition. And Mile Day and the 3rd of July fireworks, and lately the Corgi races. Those are the really big days out here at the track when everybody gets excited to come on out.
Okay, and then May 20th, a Sunday after Mother's Day.
That's another one.
Camels, ostriches, and this year?
We'll have 4 zebras.
Zebras.
Dashing 200 yards. Exactly. And I've yet to reach out to Jose Zunino to verify he's going to get a mount on the zebra.
That was here last year, what we're seeing.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Young kid feeding a camel. That's something you don't do every day. And
yeah, they're out here on display for the whole weekend, so you can come and actually see these great, fun animals, ostriches and
they get along
camels.
pretty good, it looks like, there, those ostriches.
They
make
do.
out all right, yeah.
And I was told the zebras do not bite.
That's great.
Yeah, so you can bring your family out to see the animals on Saturday before Sunday racing.
We'll let you prove that to us. Right?
Sunday, that's Sunday, May 20th, ostrich, camel, and zebra races, all with a human on board. So that is quite a sight to see. Riser, our champion 3-year-old from last year, is racing at Churchill Downs this Friday, May 4th, in the Turf Sprint. Yeah, the Turf Sprint Twin Spires version of it. It's $200,000, and he won 3 or 4 starts here last year. First time on the grass for Riser.
Yes, first time here at Churchill, going 5 furlongs. I believe he drew an outside post. Aaron Grutters got the mount, so that's the much-watched TV simulcasting here on Friday. The gates open Friday for Oaks Day right here at Emerald Downs, starting at 9 in the morning.
Okay, and Saturday's feature race, let's just take a little bit of a gander there. It's a filly and mare sprint at 6 furlongs. It'll be the 8th race. I'm going to go with Jerry to Carry, fellas. She won 4 sprints in a row here early last year, beat different types of fields. good stalking mode. And she's a 5-year-old in against a lot of 4-year-olds. Gary, who do you like in that Saturday feature for fillies and mares?
Real quick, Retreat Yourself from Doris Harwood barn. I loved her mom, Retreat After Me. She ran the 4 or 5 stakes last year, back against allowance horses. First time off the box for Esjuan Flores. Phil?
What he said.
Okay, Retreat Yourself. Both going with Retreat Yourself, the daughter of Harbor the Gold. Yeah, a lot of talent there. She's won here at both ages 2 and 3. She's now a 4-year-old. So that is part of our racing outlook for this Saturday, Kentucky Derby Day. Once again,
Derby Day.
Gates open early. Good Magic, Good Magic.
Yeah.
And Audible for Gary. We'll see how we do. Nobody's going with the favorite, Justify. Toss him, Phil says.
Come on out to the track. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us once again. Thursday nights at 11, Friday mornings at 9 a.m. You can catch Emerald Downs Weekly right here on NBC Sports Northwest.
I vote for Phil.
Okay, well,
you know,
let's let Gary have a small victory here.
Revenge.
That's it for the show. Thanks for watching.
So much for giving photos to the TV crew.
I don't know where they got that.
Yeah.
Right?
He gives them photos, and he's surprised that they show up on the screen.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do with them? Take them home, put them under their pillow?
Well, I just put you guys under a bad predicament. You know, you guys are mad at me.